District 2 Toastmasters family. I was born and raised as a Toastmaster in District 2. You are my family. My first club was Mill Creek Toastmasters Club in Division A. Hi, Mill Creek, Division A. I'm sure you're here watching, from my home to yours. Now, that was in January 2009 when I first visited Mill Creek Toastmasters Club. Now, forward, fast, 10 years. In 10 years, I attended every district conference. I learned a lot. I laughed a lot. And became an accredited speaker. I am stuck with Toastmasters. So stick with me. The beginning of George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. Can you believe that this magnificent piece of music was written using only 7 notes? And all the music in the world is written using the same 7 notes. That's all we have. And not only that, the recording industry of America estimates that those 7 notes generated $7.7 billion in 1 year in retail revenue. How is that possible? It's called creativity. Albert Einstein said it best. Creativity is intelligence having fun. In the next 20 minutes, you will discover why creativity is needed now more than ever. What is the secret to creativity? And the 4 keys how you can unlock and strengthen creativity within you. Today will be a special bonus, the 5th key, but I won't tell you what it is. Now, let's start with why. The World Economic Council established that creativity will be one of the most in-demand skills in the next 5 years. The 5 years start now. Creativity is unique to us, humans. It's a heartbeat of culture, technology, and economy. Creativity expands our perceptions. It helps us to create our own path in life. Would you agree that creating something makes you happy? It brings us joy, especially when we share it. What is the secret to creativity? I often ask my students, what does music make you think? How does music make you feel? Children, younger than 8 years old, immediately jump into storytellings about hamsters, elephants, thunderstorms, waterfalls, sunshine. They're unstoppable. When I ask older kids, I hear, I don't know. What's happening to our creativity? The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, developed a unique test to measure the creative potential of its rocket scientists. Later, the test was open to anyone to participate. the results are in. 98% of us are geniuses when we're kids. When we're 30 years and older, only 2% of us are creative. 98%, and then life happens. When we're kids, we look at the world with eyes wide open. We live in the moment. We are not afraid that our creation is not good enough. As we grow older, fear, self-doubt, negative experiences pile up and limit our creative roots. Our life gets busier, and our creativity gets tired and takes a nap. We need to wake it up. The secret to creativity is we are all born with creativity in our brain. It's not a special talent. First I thought the secret is in the hair. Einstein, Beethoven, Cher. I wish it was that simple. If it was that simple, after quarantine, all of us would be geniuses. So what is the secret? Let me ask you, have you ever tried to play a musical instrument? Or you know somebody who did? It's a lot of fun. It's really great activity, but sometimes very painful. What is the most painful? The P word, practice. When I tried to learn a piece by the greatest romantic composer, Frédéric Chopin, I could not get it for months, until I decided I will play it 55 times in a row. After that practice, I could play it smoothly and creatively. And that's how it sounds. think athletes become great by watching webinars of their sport or listening to podcasts? They become great by going through rigorous practice. So with creativity, it can be retrained, relearned, and refreshed. And practiced just like any other muscle in our body. Would you like to learn the 4 keys to how you can strengthen your creativity? Here they are. Number 1, connection. 2, cause. 3, critique. And 4, contribution. The 5th key will be compassion. Notice they all start with the C in the key of C, which is the most popular key in the music. How often do you need to practice creativity? Only on the days that you eat. Key number 1, connection. Most of us were taught to think convergently, which means we focus only on specific information and exclude everything else. But that limits our creativity and blocks our imagination. Every problem has more than one solution. Exploring them is called divergent thinking. Here is an example. What do you think is the hardest part of playing piano? Besides the P word. Moving the piano. Tight corners, narrow hallways, doors. It's like pushing the elephant. An elephant does not want to go. What to do? Measure a window. Have you seen a piano flying into the open window like a butterfly hanging from a construction crane? Practice divergent thinking. Look for unrelated objects making unexpected connections. Turn ordinary into extraordinary. That's the key number 1. Practice divergent thinking. Connect unrelated objects. Key number 2, cause. Don't you wish we could just hop on the plane and fly again? Don't you miss that opportunity to go places? Not now. Right now there is a crisis, and one of the most suffering industries is airline. And in our region it's Boeing. Boeing is crucial to our region economy. But don't forget that creativity was always at the core of the Boeing enterprise. For more than 100 years, airplanes were made out of metal. And then somebody had a crazy thought. Let's make an airplane out of plastic. Why? The world needs an aircraft that flies faster and further, and while being lighter and more efficient. It took Boeing 7 years to design and build the Dreamliner. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow travelers, remember on December 15, 2009, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner took its maiden flight. This aircraft is 80% composite materials. Originally it was called Boeing 7E7. The middle E stands for efficient and environmentally friendly. And how do I know that? because my husband was on the Dreamliner design team. And we talk at home sometimes. I'm positive that when the pandemic is over, you will be flying on the Dreamliner and going everywhere you want in the world. That's the key number 2. Cause, finding the need and working tirelessly to finish your job. Key number 3, critique. That word makes me cringe. Maybe makes you just slightly uncomfortable. The only critique I like is when it's given to somebody else, maybe the speaker before me. Friends, I have to make a confession. Many years ago, growing up in Russia, I didn't know how to play the piano. I was just a kid with a dream. My dream was to be a pianist. So, like every good aspiring musician, I dropped out of high school. But then, I was not accepted into the music program for 3 years. Finally, when I made it, my teacher looked me straight in the eye and said, "You play like a cow." A cow! That really hurts. Have you had experience when you just feel like you will never be good enough? When the negative critique is much louder than positive encouragement? Don't listen to people who pull you down. Listen to those who lift you up. Critique is vital to our creative process, to our journey for improvement. But it needs to be constructive and positive, not destructive. Critique your creation, but not yourself. Critique your creation, but believe in yourself. That's the key number 3. Now, going on to the key number 4, and that is contribution. Creativity is universal. It breaks barriers and builds bridges between countries, cultures, and generations. Mark Zuckerberg founded Facebook when he was a college student. Vera Wang started her famous fashion company when she was in her 40s. Julia Child published her famous cookbook when she was in her 50s. Colonel Sanders began the Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was 65. Grandma Moses picked up the paintbrush at 78 and became American fine arts icon. Share your creation with the world, whether it's a song, a software application, a Dreamliner, or a recipe of your favorite dish. Creativity is priceless. It comes from the heart, but channels through the mind. When we share creations with the world, you make the world a better place for everyone. The famous poet Maya Angelou said, "You cannot use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have." Today, you learned the 4 keys to creativity. Number 1, connection. Think divergently. Number 2, cause. Find the need. Number 3, critique. Critique your creation but not yourself. And number 4, contribute your creation to the world for everyone to enjoy. And now the key number 5, compassion. There is no better time to be compassionate, which means do something with passion than now. And the examples are everywhere. Our district leadership works tirelessly to create opportunities for everyone, for clubs to meet, for contestants to compete, for conference to take place. Many other groups and organizations are pulling resources together to help those in need. My church organized a program where we're helping 150 families who struggle during this time. And finally, look at all of us staying at home. People bake, write music, create, make games. Everybody is contributing their creative power to make other people feel better. Creativity is practice, but it's also fun, it makes us happy, and it's universal. Does that sound familiar? United Airlines theme song. It used to be heard in the airports all over the world. But yes, it is a famous Rhapsody in Blue. Can you believe that George Gershwin almost forgot to write it? 3 weeks before the performance, the premiere, he was having dinner with his brother at the New York restaurant, All Times. His brother asked him, said, "George, the New York Times just published a huge announcement about the premiere of your new symphony. I have not heard you are working on it." George forgot. He rushed home to work on his new piece. He had to take a train. The exhilarating rhythm of the train, the noise of the big city inspired him. That was his connection. He promised to write the new symphony. That was his cause. He used new jazzy harmonies and new jazzy rhythms. Despite heavy critique for doing that, he made his contribution to the world by giving us magnificent Rhapsody in Blue. And now musicians all over the world perform it with compassion to keep their audience energized, positive, and inspired. And now you will hear the ending of the Rhapsody in Blue. But while you listen, think, this conference is the beginning of the new chapter in your Toastmasters journey, in your professional career, or new chapter in your path of life. The keys to creativity are within you.